Today we're looking at 1.56 acres in central North Carolina that is for sale for about $9,000. And in this video, I'm going to show you the top things that will help you decide whether this property is a good fit for you based on my experience selling over 700 parcels of land. So let's start with location. All right. We are in central or west central North Carolina, in between Greensboro and Charlotte. So we are in a more rural, kind of natural bucolic area, very close to High Rock Lake, and about 15 minutes to the town of Denton. And so this property is in a community right near the lake, and we can take a look at what the property looks like here. All right, so it is off of an improved road. You can see the road here. Now I will note, as you can see from that panoramic view, this is a sloped lot. So it is, as I heard on one listing description put it, an ideal lot for a walkout basement. But yes, that is something to keep in mind. This is a sloped lot. So if you did want to build, you would have to plan on building around that slope. The other thing, although that could also potentially give room for views, as you can see here from the drone footage. And I will note that there is a house on this road as well. So, but as you can see, the surrounding area is kind of more rural, very green. You get the hills, the rolling hills. We're also close to a lake. Right, so this property is for someone who's looking for a lot that is either for investment or for building that is out of a major city in a quieter, more peaceful rural area. Now, one other thing, let's go back and watch this again. One other thing I will be upfront about is that this property is also in an HOA. So again, this lot would be for someone who's looking for a property in a community so that you have that security, you have the maintained roads, you have more of the community feel, and you also have the organization that is sort of protecting home values and keeping home values at a certain level. So probably someone who's maybe either retired or has a small family or just likes those benefits of an HOA. I will say, though, that this property is not for someone who is looking for unrestricted land or a mobile home lot or a place to park an RV. Also, as we can see from the footage, it would not be for someone who's looking for a flat building lot or a lot with all public utilities available. So I do want to be upfront about those criteria. Again, though, this is a property in a quieter, more peaceful rural setting. You do have some of the advantages of an HOA, like, and we can see here, the name of the HOA is the Springs at High Rock, so we can learn a little more about them to help determine whether they would be a good fit for you or not. Their website is the Springs at High Rock. So two of the biggest advantages for HOAs in areas like this is, first of all, many of them are gated, including this one, so you do have that added layer of security. They do also make sure that the roads are in decent condition, which can be a problem in some of these more rural areas. So those are some of the major advantages of being within an HOA. HOAs also do provide some amenities, some, community-focused events, that sense of community. And as I'll show you in a little bit, they can also increase home values. So if you did want to build, that would be an advantage. You would potentially get a higher value house being in an HOA. But a little bit about them. So again, they are a gated waterfront community. We are, of course, right by High Rock Lake. There are 2,000 acres on High Rock Mountain, which is actually the highest mountain in the Uwharrie Range. So that's why you're seeing the slopes within the subdivision. We are in the mountains, or on a mountain. And we are by High Rock Lake again, which is the second largest lake in North Carolina. It does have a clubhouse, so you do have that hosts community events. And you get, because it's on a mountain, you do get panoramic views. They mention on a clear day, at least from the clubhouse, you can see the Blue Ridge Mountains, which are 100 miles away. One advantage of being on sloped terrain. There is a pool, hot tub, and tennis pickleball courts, as well as 35 acres of forest preserve within the community. And there are also community docks with day slips on the lake. So we can they have some photos here of the clubhouse. But that's the general idea behind the HOA. Their annual dues are about $1,000, so not terrible. Even if you were buying this as an investment property, that wouldn't be too terrible if you were holding on to the property for a long time. And as I said, they do keep the roads in good condition, and they do provide a couple of amenities. And yeah, I will say, so you see that they do have like plowing crews. They go out whenever the road is blocked or needs clearing, is damaged, all of that. They help make sure that roads are generally kept in good condition. As I said, that can be really important in some of these rural areas. Before I get into what can be built on the property, I do also want to mention that one of the other advantages of an HOA is it can protect home values. So if we take a look at home values based on sold comps in the subdivision, you can see that homes are in the 500 to 600K range, it looks like. There's one even here that's 864. So again, you are getting higher value homes within the subdivision, compared to nearby Healing Springs, because of the community and the fact that they do keep certain standards in place for buildings, for homes. Right. But that, of course, leads us to the question of what can you actually build on this property? I know that's an important question to answer if you want to know whether this lot will work for you or not. So as I said, this is not a property for anyone who is looking for a mobile home lot or a place to park an RV. This would be a lot where you would be building, a traditional stick-built home. So like most HOAs, there are some guidelines on what can be built in the community. Again, these guidelines tend to be why homes have slightly higher value than in other parts of the county. And you can find these guidelines on the website, on the HOA website. But basically, again, it's no mobile homes. It would be a regular stick-built home. They do allow a number of exterior materials. Let's see if I can highlight this. So a wide range of exterior materials can be used, but they do say no to vinyl or aluminum or metal siding. So that's something to keep in mind. I think that would be the main restriction. They do have some other, like the home has to have a minimum of 1,200 square feet on the first floor and 1,800 square feet total. Right, so this wouldn't be a tiny home lot, but you don't necessarily need to build a mansion either in this community. And you are supposed to have a garage as well. So that's something else to keep in mind. But you can go through all of their guidelines on their website. That is the main thing to understand. This would be a lot where, again, you're building a traditional site-built, stick-built home. And you wouldn't be doing vinyl or aluminum siding. I think those are kind of the main things to keep in mind as far as building regulations here. But one thing I do want to mention, if you are going to build, so water and sewer would be well and septic, and we did have a perk test done, which is a big benefit because this does let you know that the property could support a septic system. So I'll open the results of that perk test, which are available on our website. So now, because this is a sloped lot, you are looking at a TNJ panel or prefabricated like block panel system known as a PPBB PPBPS system. So that's basically, it's a type of septic system that reduces the size of the drain field a bit in order to make the septic system work on the sloped terrain. Right? And you can see this area up by the road was determined as being suitable for that kind of septic system. And you can find a copy of this report on our listing page. But that's an important thing to know. The site has already been tested, and it's determined what kind of septic system would work here. So that's something that you don't necessarily need to do if you were to move forward with the purchase of the property. All right. Now, a few quick other things about the area, because I know one thing, if you are looking at a property in a little more rural area, you want a place where you're out in nature. A big question I get is whether you're still close enough to the necessities. So as I said, we're about 15 minutes to the town of Denton. In Denton, there is a medical clinic, Denton Healthcare here. And there are some restaurants and markets. So you're about 15 minutes from the basic essentials. And then there's a larger town over here with a VA hospital and a full hospital, Novant Hospital. And that's in Salisbury, which is about 40 minutes away. All right, so that's a nearby area. And then in terms of if you did have a family, just schools and good for family ratings, those sorts of things. At the zip code level, you can see that the nearby area does have average, maybe slightly above average public schools and has a pretty decent rating as good for families. This is, again, a quieter, more rural area. There's not a huge population here, so good for someone who's looking for that quiet, more peaceful setting, closer to nature. And if we look at the list of top schools, there are some very good schools in the nearby vicinity, according to niche.com. All right. Now, I did also want to go over a few other characteristics of the property that would be important to know as you try to determine whether this lot will work for you or not. And those include things like special hazard flood zone, wetlands, things that can impact building. So they're important to know about. Right, so we'll start with contour lines and terrain. Now, as we saw from the drone footage, as we mentioned earlier, this is a sloping lot. So it slopes down from the road. And you can see that the approximate elevation is about, say, 760 feet. And again, there is a home that was built on this road. So someone did manage to build on this terrain. And in fact, you can see the whole subdivision. This subdivision is on the mountain. So a lot of the homes here have been built on sloped terrain. Okay. There's also no special hazard flood zone, so that's important. It means no additional flood insurance requirements or requirements to elevate the home, things like that. There are also no wetlands. That's another important characteristic because wetlands can really impede or make it difficult to build on the property. Okay, so I think that covers the bulk of the important items to know up front, and that would lead us to arguably the most important point, which is pricing and owner financing. But before I get to that, I just quickly want to introduce myself so you know who you are working with. My name's Erica. I am actually the co-founder of Gokche Capital. We are a company that sells land, and our mission is to help people across the country become landowners and build their own version of the American dream. We have helped over 700 people buy land at this point, and you can find all of our listings at land.gocap.com. So we do have properties throughout the U.S. So if you're looking in other states, you can check out all of our listings on the main listing page. We do also have a number of other properties in North Carolina if you decide that this property doesn't work for you. But today we are looking at number 695. It's the property on Boulder Ridge Drive in Davidson County, North Carolina. And quick note, this is our internal numbering system, so you're not going to see this number on the deed. If you did want to do some research with the county, you could give them this number. That's the assessor's parcel number. But if you want to find the property on our listing page, it's number 695. Right. And one other thing I'll note is that we are not real estate agents. All the properties that we sell are properties that our company owns. That does mean we can offer owner financing on all the lots, including this one. So this property is priced at $8,997 plus the $595 doc fee. And again, we do offer owner financing. But you're not going to see set owner financing terms on the listing page. That is because we do tailor our terms to meet the needs of each individual buyer in order to make sure that the lot is affordable for you. So if you are interested in owner financing, I do always recommend that you reach out to us and let us know what kind of down payment and monthly payment will work with your budget, and we'll work with you to come up with terms that make the property affordable. I do, though, want to be upfront about two terms. So the first is the higher the down payment, the lower the interest rate. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your budget. The second is we do say there's no building on or living on the property until the end of the loan term. And this is for liability reasons, but you can use the property for recreational purposes, and you can also make minor improvements as long as you're in compliance with all local rules and regulations. And by minor improvements, we mean things like clearing, grading, fencing, generally anything that doesn't require a permit. So if there are a few things you want to do to get the property ready during the loan term, I do always say, please reach out to us and let us know, and we'll work with you. The other thing I'll say is there is no prepayment penalty, so you can always pay off the loan early and save on interest. In fact, if you pay off early enough, we will give you cash back. So if you pay off in 6 months, you'll get 5% cash back on the purchase price. And if you pay off in 12 months, you'll get 2.5% cash back on the purchase price. The other thing I like to call out is our 365-day land exchange guarantee. And we created this because I had often heard in the past that many buyers, in particular first-time land buyers, were a little bit concerned about purchasing property because they felt like maybe they didn't know how to do all the due diligence required for vacant land, and they would end up getting a property that doesn't work for them. So to solve for this, we did create the 365-day exchange guarantee. It's kind of like a GPS system for owner financing. Just like with GPS, it can reroute you if you take a wrong turn. If you do happen to get a property that doesn't work for you, we can reroute you to a different property. So anytime in that first year of owner financing, you can reach out to us and let us know that you'd like to exchange your property for a different one in our inventory. And we'll let you do that. You just need to pay another doc fee, but we can transfer over all of the principal you'd already paid to the new property to make sure that you're getting a lot that really works for you. The other thing I like to mention is that we did put together a landowner success bundle that comes free with every purchase. This bundle is based off of feedback from hundreds of previous buyers on what would be helpful. And it is a set of 9 bonuses designed to help you get the most from your land. And these bonuses do include exclusive offers with mobile home manufacturers and dealers, monthly landowner Q&A calls with me. And so these are designed to ensure that you have assistance even after the deed is recorded. You'll also get a complimentary vacation voucher valid for a 3-night hotel stay in one of over 50 global locations, and a hotel savings card, which has a $500 value that you can use to buy down hotel stays throughout the U.S. And those 2 bonuses are designed to help offset the cost of moving to a new location or visiting the property, or just a vacation to celebrate land ownership. You can also request a free architectural consultation with me because I do have a background in architecture. And every purchase comes with our homesteading guide and building and zoning guide. And I will note that these are not short, like 3-page PDFs. We did spend a month putting together everything we thought you should know if you wanted to homestead or build. And both of these are about 100 pages, so maybe a little under. You also get a post-closing checklist to make sure you're set up correctly and our neighbor lookup tutorial. So all of these bonuses do come free with every purchase. You get them once the deed's recorded. So that's either upfront with a cash sale or at the end of the loan term with owner financing. Okay. Now, the next thing I'll say is if you are interested in this property, I do recommend doing the following 2 steps. So I always recommend that you hold the property if you're interested in it. And that is because we do get a lot of interest in all of our lots. And prior to having a hold, we would have situations where someone would spend a few days to go out and visit the property or call the county. But then by the time they got back to us, the property would be gone. So to prevent that from happening, we did create a hold feature. It's only $50 for 2 days, and you can hold for up to 8 days at a time. And the hold will take the property off market to make sure that no one else can buy the property while you call the county, visit the lot, call us, do whatever you need to do to become comfortable. So it's a very easy process. It's automated. You just click buy or hold on our listing page and click hold and go through the checkout steps. So that's the first step I always recommend. Hold the property. The second step is to give me a call to go over any final questions you might have, as well as next steps. And we can also talk about owner financing terms if you're interested in owner financing. So this here, call.gocap.com, is my personal calendar. You can book a call with me here to discuss anything you'd like about the property. So again, those are the 2 steps I always recommend. Hold the property by clicking buy or hold, and then book a call with me to go over next steps. Now, another thing I'll note is if you're just getting started with your land search and you're not yet certain what property you want to buy or even what you're looking for, you can go to my calendar and book a free land strategy call. And on these calls, we can go over what your goals are and some of the things I would recommend that you look out for as you are evaluating properties. And that's just to make sure that you end up with a property that really does work for you. If it makes sense, we can also go over the properties in our inventory, but only if it makes sense. Right, so that is an option as well. You can book a free land strategy call. I'll also note that my partner and I are live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. And we do free property reviews. So if you are currently looking at different properties and you would like us to give you a free opinion on any lot that you're potentially thinking about purchasing, you can join any day at 5 p.m. Eastern and leave your property in the chat, and we'll take a look at it for you. Finally, we do also have a free land giveaway that we run twice a year. It's just to get the word out about our company, like a fun little promotion. So if you're interested in that, the next one's coming up July 4th. We will be giving away the lowest value property in our inventory. And you can check out what you need to do to participate at freelandgiveaway.com, or just go to our YouTube homepage and search Freeland Giveaway. Go down to Freeland Giveaway. But again, you can find all of our properties, including the one we looked at today, at land.gocap.com. This was property number 695 on Boulder Ridge Drive. And you can find all of the details on our listing page, again, at land.gocap.com. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can book a call at call.gocap.com. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.